Clerk, can you confirm the quorum? Can you? It's not here. Okay. You can proceed now. We have quorum, it's confirmed. Senator Kathuri Murungi, can you please I've already confirmed that. I confirmed already. So we are not repeating that confirmation. Honorable Senators, I'm deferring order number 18, order number 8 to order number 17, and I direct the clerk to call out order number 22.
Order number 22, motion. Report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration on implementation of the Senate resolution on the current state of the nation made on Wednesday, 24th July, 2024.
Chairperson, National Cohesion. Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration. Senator Kamau, are you the chairperson?
Chair, I'm
or you're a member?
I'm a member of the Cohesion Committee.
Proceed.
I'm therefore standing on behalf of my chair.
Proceed.
Report on the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration on implementation of the Senate resolution on the current state of the nation made on Wednesday, 24th July, 2024. That the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration on implementation of the Senate resolution on the current state of the nation made on 24th July 2024, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday 3rd June 2025. Honorable Speaker, I call upon Senator Cherargei to second.
Senator Kamau, can you please approach the chair? Please give the report to the senator.
Honorable Speaker, that the Senate adopts the report on the Standing Committee of the current state of the nation made on Wednesday, 24th July 2024, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 3rd June 2025. Honorable Speaker, a sitting of the Senate held on Wednesday, 24th July 2024, the Senate adopted a resolution of the current state of the nation, part of which directed the Standing Committee on the National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration, 1, 2, engage the Public Service Commission on the National Cohesion and Integration Commission on audit of the state of employment of the public service, including county government, and propose strategies to adhere to equality opportunities across the public service as spoused in the Article 232 of the Constitution of the Values and Principle of Public Service. Number 2, engage the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority to audit compliance with Section 53(6) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal by all public procurement entities with a view of establishing a roadmap to ensure compliance of the said provision of the Act. Honorable Speaker, the committee embarked on the assignment hereupon invited, held a deliberation with the governors and key officials of the 47 counties government under the following thematic areas. Madam Speaker, thematic area 1, a demographic compensation of employments of the county government in terms of gender, person with disability, age, and ethnicity. Thematic area 2, the demographic composition of the county executive committee members of the chief officers in terms of gender, person with disability, age, and ethnicity. C, thematic area 3, any recruitment conducted by the county in the last 3 years, outturning position that have been filled and criteria applied in the selection of candidates. Thematic 4, the status of compliance by the county with Section 53(6) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, Cap 412C. Thematic area 5, affirmative action measures being implemented by the county in the promotion of women, youth, persons with disability, in recruitment and leadership. Thematic area 6, the audit of assessment that was undertaken in the last 3 years to ascertain the level of inclusivity in the recruitment process. Madam Speaker, the committee also invited and held deliberations with the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority regarding compliance by public entities with Section 53(6) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act with a view of establishing a roadmap to ensure compliance with the said provision of the Act. Madam Speaker, the committee further held a deliberation with the National Cohesion and Integration Commission regarding the ethnic and diversity audit of the county public service carried out by the Commission. In total, the committee held 32 meetings where it received oral submission and written memorandum from the county governors and Public Procurement Regulatory Authority and the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. The committee thereafter retreated to have the submission received, whereupon it arrived on an observation recommendation as set out in the report. Honorable Speaker, the key recommendations by the committee are as follows. 1. Thematic area. Democratic promotion of the employees by the county governance in terms of gender, person with disability, age, and ethnicity. The committee recommended as follows. 1. That Mandera, Nandi, and Wajir counties governor should appoint the required number of women, comply with the constitution requirement, and not more than 2/3 of the members of appointed bodies shall be of the same gender. No more than 2/3 of gender principle with 18 months of tabling of this report. The county government that are compliant should put policies in place to continue to adhere to the constitution requirements. Number 2, that all county governments should comply with the provision of Article 54(2) and Section 13 of the Person with Disability Act and take affirmative action urgently to employ persons with disability to comply with the constitution requirement to serve 5% of appointed position in county public service within 18 months of tabling this report. Noting that none of the county government is compliant with the provision of the law, the county government should liaise with the National Council for Persons with Disabilities during recruitment and selection of the pool of qualified persons with disability applicants. Number 3, that the 32 county governments that failed to comply with the requirement should ensure that at least 30% of the vacant positions are filled by candidates who are not from the dominant ethnic community in the county by putting deliberate measures in place to comply with the diversity requirement within 18 months of tabling the report. These county governments are Kwale, that has 75.2%, Kilifi, that has 79%, Wajir, 91.05%, Mandera, 81.4%, Meru, 90%, Kitui, 90%, Machakos, 85%, Makwiny, 92.63%, Nyandarua, 93.66%, Nyeri with 93.66% Kikuyu. Kirinyaga has 96% Kikuyu, Muranga has 93% Kikuyu, Samburu has 96.65% Samburu. Uasin Gishu has 85% Kalenjin, Garissa has 80.15% of Somalis, Elgeyo Marakwet has 96.22% of Kalenjin. Nandi as well has 95.67 Kalenjin, Baringo 92.93% of Kalenjin, Laikipia 70.06% of Kikuyu, Kajiado, Masai 70.53%. Bomet has 97.28% of Kalenjin. Kakamega has 90.68% of Luya. Bungoma has 83.6% of Luhya. Vihiga as well has 89.79% of Luhya. Kisumu has 87.69% of Luo, Homa Bay 96.98% of Luo, Migori has a total of 71.77% of Luo, Kisii has 94.28% of Kisiis, and Nyamira has 95% of Kisiis. Madam Speaker, that all the county government should use alternative means of job advertisement, such as national and local vernacular radio stations, social media, and local leaders to reach a wider pool of candidates while doing targeted civic education and advertising the recruitment opportunities. Number 5, that all the county government should use target job advertisement, encouraging minority communities, youth, women, persons with disability to apply and be considered. Thematic area 2 was talking about demographic composition of the county executive committee members of the chief officers in terms of gender, persons with disability, age, and ethnicity. The recommendations are as follows: that the following county government, namely Kisumu, Kisii, Isiolo, Nyeri, Laikipia, Wajir, and Embu counties, should comply with the constitutional requirement that not more than 2/3 of the members of the opposite bodies shall be of the same gender. Not more than 2/3 gender principle in the composition of county executive committee members and county chief officers. Number 2, that the 42 county government that failed to comply with the constitutional requirement to reserve 5% of appointed position county executive committee members and chief officers into bracket in the county public service to persons with disability are required to comply with the law within 18 months of tabling this report, with the exception of Lamu that has 5%, Taita Taveta has 8.7%, Wajir 6.45%, Turkana 6.06%, and Nandi 5.26%, county government that complied with the constitutional requirement to serve the 5% requirements. Madam Speaker, number 3, that the county government should put in place policies of guidelines, that all the county government should put in place policies and guidelines that guarantee the inclusion of youth and marginalized groups in the county executive leadership position. That the Senate amends the County Government Act to provide the number of timeline for appointment of chief officers following gubernatorial election. Number 5, Madam Speaker, County Government of Elgeyo Marakwet, Kericho, Makwiny, Nyandarua, and Vihiga, which had county executive committee members and county chief officers exclusively from dominant ethnic community in their counties, should adhere to the constitutional requirement of diversity and inclusivity and take immediate measures not less than 18 months upon tabling of this report in the Senate to comply with the requirement that at least 30% of the vacant position are filled by candidates who are not from the dominant ethnic community in the country. Honorable Speaker, thematic area 3, recruitment and conducted by the county government in the last 3 years, the positions that have been filled and criteria applied in the selection of Number 1, that all county governments should strictly adhere to the existing legal frameworks, including the National Cohesion and Integration Act and the County Government Act, to ensure compliance with the law in the recruitment of public service management. Additionally, County Public Service Board must comply with Section 66, 67, and 68 of the County Government Act, which outline consideration and appointment of the requirement for wide application of advertisement, position, and proper maintenance of recruitment records. Number 2, that all county government should take immediate measures to ensure the accessibility of the job advertisement through diversifying their means of advertisement by utilizing social media platform, national radio station and TV station, and use of local leaders to help reach out pool of candidates, including special interest groups. Madam Speaker, number 3, that the County Public Service Board should put in place guidelines and policies that should guide at least 30% of vacant entry-level positions are filled by candidates who do not belong to the dominant ethnic community in the country. As required under Section 65(1)(e) of the County Government Acts, the measures will foster diversity and promote their representation of county employment. Thematic Area 4. The status of compliance by the county with Section 53(6) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, Cap 412C. The committee recommendations are as follows. The 22 county governments that failed to comply with Section 53(6) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act on reservation of 30% of procurement for special group should take deliberate measures to ensure compliance within 12 months of table of this report in the Senate. These county governments are Mombasa, Kwale, Wajir, Isiolo, Meru, Embu, Kitui, Machakos, Makwiny, Nyeri, Kiambu, Turkana, Nandi, Baringo, Nakuru, Samburu, Narok, Kericho, Vihiga, Migori, Nyamira, and Nairobi. Number 2, to ensure compliance with 30% of access to government procurement opportunities, that is into bracket AGPO, requirement by the county government that fall below the threshold should implement target intervention to increase procurement opportunities for special groups, including sensitization, campaign, and capacity building program. Moreover, the Council of Governors should encourage sharing of best practices among county government by replicating successful county-specific procurement initiatives, such as Trans Nzoia Nawiri program to ensure local empowerment. Additionally, the practice from the county government with remarkable compliance, such as Lamu and Elgeyo Marakwet, should be studied to adopt where applicable to improve compliance and effectiveness of the government procurement. Number 3, that the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority should report to the Senate on access to government procurement opportunities, procurement performance at the end of every financial year. Number 4, that all county governments should develop and implement affirmative action program while carrying out benchmarking with their better performing counterparts in order to comply with Section 53(6) of the Public and Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Number 5, that all county executives should strictly adhere to Sections 157(12) of the Public Procurement and Disposal Act. Thematic Area 5, it was about the affirmative action measures being implemented by the county in promotion of women, youth, and persons with disability in requirement and leadership. The committee recommendations are as follows. That all county governments should have in place and implement affirmative action policies prioritizing the empowerment of persons with disability, women, minority groups, in line with the national policies, including the following policies. A, an internship and capacity building policy. B, gender mainstreaming policy. C, disability mainstreaming policy. D, requirement and selection policy. E, youth and ICT policy. Number 2, that all county governments should develop a county minority register to track minority and marginalized community within the county while fully implementing the affirmative action policies in place. The thematic area 6 was about the audit of assessment undertaken in the last 3 years to ascertain the level of inclusivity in the recruitment process. The recommendations are as follows. 1, the Senate to organize capacity building program for county assemblies that would enable them to effectively play their oversight role by ensuring that county executive comply with the law specifically on ethnic diversity and inclusivity during recruitment and promotion of employment. Access to government procurement in line with Section 12(7), 35(2), and 97A of the County Government Acts 2012 and 53(6) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015. Other recommendations are: the committee further recommended as follows. The County Public Service Board should prepare and implement a county implementation equity plan for the purpose of eliminating ethnic imbalance. 2, that all county governments should liaise with the IGRTC and Council of Governors to implement standardized county-level recruitment guidelines, career progression policies, transition framework, salary structure, and ensure consistent and equitable employment processes, counties to better their infrastructure to attract professionalism. Number 3, that the County Public Service Board should be empowered to fulfill their mandate without undue process from county and national leadership. Number 4, the Public Procurement Regulatory Authorities should be adequately resourced to monitor and enforce compliance with the scheme, introducing administrative sanctions on procurement entities to enforce compliance. Honorable Speaker, the committee wishes to thank the Office of the Speaker of the Senate and the Office of the Clerk of the Senate for the support extended to the committee in the execution of its mandate. The committee further extends its appreciation to governors who appeared before the committee and provided invaluable information. The committee also appreciates the technical support accorded to it by the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, and the Public Regulatory Authority, PPRA. Finally, I thank the fellow senators for their oversight and thoughtful participation in inquiry and their dedication to the objective of inquiry. The appreciation also goes to the dedicated Secretariat who actively participated in proceeding of the committee's meeting. Honorable Speaker, it is now my pleasure, duty and privilege on behalf of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration Committee to table the report on the committee on its consideration of the Senate resolution of the current state of the nation and the committee and to commend it to the House for debate and adoption pursuant to the provision of the Senate Standing Order 223(6). Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Who is your seconder?
I wish to call upon Honorable Senator Cherargei to second.
Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to commend Senator Kituku for giving the House elaborate move on what the report entails. Madam Speaker, as I rise to second, you and me were on the floor of the House when, under the guidance of Leader of Majority and Leader of Minority, the House came up with a joint motion between the minority and majority side to discuss the state of the nation. This was as precursor of the Gen Z protest that happened in June 2024 over the state of governance in the country and the issue of Finance Bill 2024. So, Speaker, you remember the resolution of the House is that each and every standing committee, including sessional committees, Madam Speaker, were assigned with the work of follow-up of the Committee of the Resolutions. The National Cohesion and Integration, Madam Speaker, was given the tasks of following up on the issue of inclusivity, ethnic diversity, issues of public procurement and disposal, Madam Speaker, and audit of the diversity in terms of gender parity across the country. Madam Speaker, I was here in the morning when you were following up on the issue of IDPs in the country and their compensation. And I agree with you largely. The unfortunate part is you are interrogating somebody who is incompetent, and therefore he could not even comprehend what you are asking. I wish he would have listened and understand what you have, because the precursor of this, if we don't have gender parity, if we don't have ethnic diversity, if we do not have inclusivity, if we do not have equal opportunities, the resultant violence, the resultant IDPs, the resultant, the country becomes unstable. There will be no rule of law, democracy, and human rights. So what you are asking is that to rewrite an injustice that has been committed, we must have a transparent and accountable compensation. And your question is simple. Because compensation only does not mean to the IDPs or post-election violence or protest. It involves even my people in Serengoni and Ngetipkom who have been evicted. Compensation to forest evictees. Madam Speaker, you are aware, and you are sure you, with your illustrious career, there are what we call nowadays infrastructural evictees. People who their land is grabbed and they are evicted, especially in major towns. We were discussing Jamhuri Park. We are discussing the issues where policies affect. You remember during COVID, some Kenyans in Ruai were evicted at the middle of the night. Those are what you call infrastructural evictees. So the IDPs, forest evictees, infrastructural evictees, we need to, and I want to inform you, Madam Speaker, and the House, that some senior officials within the Ministry of Interior are eating those money. Because if you ask them how many IDPs we have settled, they operate, how many IDPs have been given land, how many have been given money. That is why he was just giving a story that was not there, Madam Speaker. We need to be told. If it is 1,000 families, how many were given land? How much acreage? Compensation to what? That is what you are asking, Madam Speaker. Unfortunately, some of us who are brilliant do not serve in those offices. We would have answered you with the necessary information because they say information. So the reason I'm linking that, Madam Speaker, is what we are having. If we want to cure IDPs and many others, we must have inclusivity, ethnic diversity, ethnic inclusivity, gender parity. And I just want to make a few comments so that my colleagues can contribute, Madam Speaker. On the issue of, I want to thank the committee and to thank Senator Joseph Kituku, the distinguished senator of Lamu, for ably moving, of the great people of Lamu, for ably moving, Madam Speaker, this report. I think out of the reports that were referred under State of the Nation, and I hope, because at that time, Madam Speaker, no one was safe. This parliament was attacked. We were no longer safe as a ruling class until we sat and spoke about the state of the nation. Now we want to report back to the country that when you went on the streets, especially the young people, and say, in your country, there is no ethnic diversity. In your country, there are no opportunities, Madam Speaker. Yesterday, I was moving my motion on the issue of Public Service Commission interns. We were asking, in fact, the recommendations that were made, Madam Speaker, is that let us ensure every ward in this country is given allocation of internship under Public Service Commission, not only in the public sector, in the private sector, and stakeholders. Even there were proposals that we must have what we call tax incentives to private sector to take over young people. Those are the opportunities that young people want, Madam Speaker. That is the inclusivity, Madam Speaker. And I want to say very well, Madam Speaker, that yesterday I said unequivocally that many people don't know the segregation of the young people. There are young people who did not go to school, but they are doing business, they are in border sector, they are farmers. Madam Speaker, secondly, there is a group of young people who still want to go to school. They want bursary, they want the scholarships, they want to read. And then there is a third group of young people in this country who have gone to school. They have degrees, they have diploma, they have certificates. And that is why this aspect of inclusivity, we must look it through the prism eyes, through the 3D, Senator Kituku, so that our young people can understand there is inclusivity. And therefore, from thematic 1, Madam Speaker, on the issue of gender, persons, PWDs, it is unfortunate that Nandi is ranking higher among the counties that we don't comply with gender parity. Madam Speaker, you have to note that Nandi have serious women of substance. You remember the 7 bearded sisters, Chelagat Mutahi. Madam Speaker, it is a shame that Nandi cannot comply under Governor Sang on the issue of gender parity, Madam Speaker. Yet we have serious women of substance in Nandi. I can confirm to you, including my beloved mother, Madam Speaker. We have women who, it is unfortunate. For Mandera and Wajir, I can agree. Because you can allude to the fact of the values, the cultural values of those areas, Madam Speaker. And maybe other, but Nandi, where even the current president comes from, Madam Speaker, this is very unfortunate. And I hope in the next 90 days that the committee have recommended the governor of Nandi must come back and tell us what he's doing to ensure women. You know, you cannot say you love women by word of mouth. You must love women through actions. And the Bible says action speaks louder than words. I always hear my governor that he says he loves women. But Kumbe does not, sorry for you, it does not reflect on the performance on this report, Madam Speaker. Number two, Madam Speaker, on the PWDs, at least 32, imagine, Madam Speaker, it's embarrassing. In fact, if former Vice President, your good friend, Mudia Wari, Madam Speaker, Mudia Wari, where we were and we celebrated, I'm happy you mentioned him on the floor of the House in Busia County Assembly. If he hears today Mudia Wari, the distinguished, and I saw him the other way, he's still very strong and wish him long life and good health. If he hears 32 county governments have not complied on the issue of PWDs, he must be very he must be very mad. Because this 5%, 32, that is more than 3/4 of the county, of the country. 32 county colleagues, this should cause an alarm among us as leaders. Where do we put our PWD people, Madam Speaker? People living differently ably. It is unfortunate that 32 of them, 32 counties did not comply to ensure that there was an aspect of PWDs, Madam Speaker. And that is why this one should, I'm happy, the report says 18 months tabling of this report. The other aspect is also 32 on the issue of ethnic diversity. More than 32 or more than 30, Madam Speaker, of county governments are employing people from only dominant, did not fail, Madam Speaker. Are we turning county governments to be ethnic conclave, Madam Speaker? Are we turning our county governments to be area? I'm happy, I think Lamu is better. It's more cosmopolitan, Madam Speaker. Why are we turning our counties into ethnic cosmopolitan? Madam Speaker, there is a principle in biology called cross-pollination. You must ensure that the cross-pollination to improve the quality of genealogy, Madam Speaker. And if you had some tribes, Madam Speaker, if you intermarry within a particular lineage or blood, the gene or the children likely to be born, Madam Speaker, and you are better than this because you are a mother, will likely suffer from some deformities. Why are we allowing our county governments to become ethnic headquarters? Why is it that when I go to Kisumu, to Nandi, to Kisii, to Mandera, to Garissa, the entire over 80%, 90% of the population, Madam Speaker, in the workforce of a county government only speaks one language? Madam Speaker, it should be a conscience that should awake this nation, Madam Speaker. When you leave Francis Mboga, betrayal in the city, if something disturbs a man, it should disturb the conscience of this nation, Madam Speaker. To paraphrase Francis Mboga, betrayal in the city. I'll skim through, Madam Speaker. At least the worst, I can just mention two, my colleagues has done very well. Kwale leads with Michiganda 75.5, Kilifi, Wajir. In fact, Wajir is worse. They are doing at 91.0%. And the governor, the chairman of Council of Governors, who happens to be your friend, you plan the devolution conference in Omabay, as 91, he can do his cabinet meeting and even briefing with the staff with this local dialect, the Somali. But I'm Speaker, Mandera, Meru, unfortunately the Deputy Speaker has left. He should tell us why 90% of Meru can only speak one language. But I'm Speaker, Bomet is 97.2. We are doing badly. I'm sampling per region. Even I can another sample, Elgeyo Marakwet is 96.2 Kalenjin. I'll just sample a few, Madam Speaker. In fact, Muranga, Kikuyu 93.7%. Madam Speaker, and Migori is doing at 71.1%, and Omabay, Madam Speaker, we are doing badly. Madam Speaker, the way to cure, because Madam Speaker, I've sat in most of the committees, and I know cohesion, this was a question you asked. Madam Speaker, when you ask governors, how do you recruit? When you ask county public service, they say we put at the national newspaper of circulation. But why then use the local vernacular? They can use Kameme. They can use Voka FM. They can use Kas FM. Or even Kitwek FM, Madam Speaker. They can use Moga FM, Madam Speaker. The local vernacular. When you ask them, they only use Standard, Star, and maybe Nation. They need to improve on security. And even most of their website, Madam Speaker, sorry to say this, are dormant. They are no longer functional. I can challenge you, Senator Gitugu, try and access website of LAM. You will get the last update was in 2016. How do you ensure there is access? This is the era of digital age, Madam Speaker. On thematic number 2, I think on the people of issue of PWDs, the chief officers and executive members, Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate also the PWD, I'm happy Lamu. By the way, this is impressive, and like other information, Taveta has complied, Wajir, Turkana, and Nandi. I think this is the only time Nandi is getting right on the issue of PWDs of the 5%. And I hope when one of the champions of prisoners and issue of PWDs, you have to appreciate to me, in Disability Act of 203 was Angomudi Awari. Madam Speaker, on the issue of others, the bottom line, maybe Elgeo Marakwet, Kericho Makwiny, and Nyandarua, and I hope my friend and Vihiga, Makwiny Governor Mutula can listen to that. Number 3, Madam, running through. In the last applied, this we have agreed, Madam Speaker, that this advertisement should be done at any given. Thematic 4, I'm running through the status with section. This is where I wanted to come to, Madam Speaker. I'm driving it home, hot and sharp. Madam Speaker, you know, Madam Speaker, the pass of this Public Procurement and Disposal Act, CAP 412C, was a progressive law. Madam Speaker, this law was progressive. The reason young people went and demonstrated after the protest of 20 Kusalamia, they say we want to go and Salamia governor, it's because of lack of opportunities. Madam Speaker, imagine 22 county governments failed to comply with Section 53(6) of the Public Procurement on 30% on procurement opportunities. For special groups, this is embarrassment. Madam Speaker, this is embarrassment. This is an embarrassment, Madam Speaker. Because how will the young people, and I want to challenge the office of the Attorney General, the state law office, these companies that are awarded contracts and tenders in our counties are cronies of governors. At least for Inandi, I know that. Are cronies of the senior officials in Madam Speaker, in these entities, Madam Speaker. So this law has been violated, colleagues. Why should we say, I don't know, when I'm picking it up, I'm picking the heat up. Madam Speaker, why should we say youth are complaining? Why do you say young people are restless? If 22 county governments cannot give 30% of their procurement opportunities to young people, how don't you expect young people to come and demonstrate against us? How? This is shameful, Madam Speaker. These counties are 22. One is Mombasa, Kwale, Wajir, Isiolo, Meru, Embu, Kitui, Machakos, Makwiny, Nyeri, Kiambu, Turkana, Nandi. Nandi, my county. This is shame. The young people of Nandi are very enterprising. They want these opportunities. But under Masang maladministration, they have destroyed the future of the young people, Madam Speaker. Even Baringo, Nakuru, Samburu, Narok, Kericho, Vihiga, Migori, Nyamira, Nairobi. This is shameful, Madam Speaker. How can you expect, Madam Speaker, young people not to protest if we cannot give them opportunities? How don't you expect? In fact, Nairobi is the worst. Nairobi is only 10.7. This county, I want to say this without fear of contradiction. This county of Nairobi City County should be handed over to NMS. Should be handed over to NMS, Madam Speaker. Should be handed over to NMS, this county government of Nairobi. Are you work, Madam Speaker? You drive even Kilimani potholes. If you even drive an SUV, you will disappear in a pothole here in Nairobi. Just within the CBD, Kirinyaga Road, the surfaces have gone to the dogs, Madam Speaker, and I must be put on NMS because the people in charge of Nairobi City County, the governor, has failed and abrogated in the duty of managing this city. And even think of amending the constitution so that we can take Nairobi to become metropolis and be managed at that level. Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, I want to say this is aside. Madam Speaker, as I was sitting, unfortunately yesterday, Madam Speaker, we have lost one of the Tindred members of parliament aspirant by the name Shadrach Marati, Madam Speaker, got lost. We hope the government agencies will trace him. But the sad reality, Madam Speaker, that is creeping back to this country's intolerance, the abuse of law. Yesterday, when my people wanted to demonstrate in Maraba Center, in Tindred sub-county, Madam Speaker, live bullets were used, just near Kisumu, where you come from. A few weeks ago, 2 people were killed in Kimwani by live bullets, Madam Speaker. Where are we going as a country? There is an intolerance. A young man was clobbered by the name Ken Maswa in Kapseret constituency for having political divergence, Madam Speaker. I want to call the Ministry of Interior and state actors to arrest this political intolerance and police brutality so that we go ahead, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, this is a progressive report so that I allow my colleagues to proceed. This is, we hope all the committees, Madam Speaker, can bring their reports. With those very, very many remarks, with tremendous respect, I beg to second.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration on implementation of the Senate resolution on the current state of the nation made on Wednesday, 24th July 2024, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 3rd June 2025. Senator Ledama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I rise to contribute on this motion on the Committee of Cohesion and Equal Opportunities and Regional Integration, my views are completely unorthodox. I don't believe that I support the report of the committee in its entirety. I've listened to my colleagues contribute, and I'm baffled because I wonder, when my colleagues say that county government must comply, that they must develop other alternative, other means of advertising for jobs so that PWDs can be able to come and work there, so that other ethnic groups can be able to go and work in other counties. The question is, why would a county government develop this new technique of calling people from other counties to come and work in that county, yet the people in that county are jobless? Mr. Speaker, let us not kid ourselves. You know, we are too quick. And I know this came out of the State of the Nation address. But let us be factual. Today, our county governments are not providing job opportunities for citizens of those counties. They are not providing procurement opportunities for citizens of those counties. What I expected this committee would do is to develop a mechanism in which county governments can ensure that 100% of all the development contracts, of all the jobs that the county governments advertise, are serviced by the people from those counties, by the youth from those counties. And where the youth do not have the qualifications to be able to build roads, those county governments should come up with trainings to be able to make sure that they absorb the youth from those counties. Madam Speaker, I'm tired of this rural urban migration. In Nairobi, you will see a lot of the Luhya nation, Madam Speaker, if I can just take as an example. You will see even the Maasai is also now coming to Nairobi, although Nairobi was ours, and it was taken away from us. But we come here, we look for jobs to become watchmen. Both the Luhya nation and the Maasais are looking for jobs here in Nairobi to become watchmen. And then you come up with this thing that doesn't even consider the situation in our counties, and you tell us that where we have highly qualified young Maasai men and women who cannot be employed elsewhere, that we cannot employ them in our counties because we've hit the threshold of 70%. Mr. Speaker, I beg to differ. If we have Luhyas in Kakamega who are fully educated and can be able to occupy 100% of jobs in that county because they are the predominant community in that county, absorb them. And I'm not saying that we should not promote regional integration. We must. But can we first of all consider the people who are there? Where do you think they'll go and get jobs? If you now chase a young Luo boy from Kisumu and say, go to Nairobi or go to Maasai Land and look for a job, and he's educated, he's got a PhD, but he cannot be employed there because of such policies. Sometimes these policies are retrogressive. Let us encourage. What I expected this committee to come up with, Mr. Speaker, are innovative measures of ensuring that we absorb everyone who is educated, qualified, Madam Speaker, in the counties that they live in. When you talk about devolution, Raila Amolo Odinga promoted this, really fought for devolution. I think what he had in mind was a nation that will be able to one day, if you are born in Narok, you live in Narok, you can work in Narok, you get married in Narok, you are buried in Narok, and you live in Narok, you go on holiday in Narok. It will be a county that will be able to accommodate everything. But not a county that you are born there, all you know is how to speak your mother tongue. But now I hear my colleague, Senator Chergey, saying that, oh, in Homa Bay, the county governor can carry out a session in a vernacular language. So what? It is our language. Why do we always forget about these issues of being truly African? Me, I'm advocating for the time now where even if the best way we can be able to fight corruption is by Maasais and Kalenjin both speaking the same languages in the assemblies, where there are those two communities exist, like in Narok County, the most predominant community is a Maasai. That is where I was born. But of course, we also have our brothers, the Kalenjin. If we can speak both of those languages and even carry out parliament session in those two languages, what's the big deal? Maybe that might sink in deeper so that we protect our interests. So, Madam Speaker, I don't support the recommendation by this committee. I want us to find innovative measures of taking care of everyone. Don't discriminate against me because you've hit a mark of 70%. That now you cannot employ me because I'm Maasai and that Narok County has already hit 70%. No! Create jobs opportunities for me. Give me those jobs. The only thing that I probably would support this committee, Madam Speaker, and I was speaking to my good friend from Lamu, is that when it comes to the members of the PWD, the first thing that actually each county needs to do is to make sure that they have carried out a statistic and to know how many people are disabled who live in that county. And enable them to form companies, give them trainings, ask them what they are capable of doing. If it is to build roads, support them in building roads. If it is working in industries, support them in getting the training necessary, then by default, that 5% can even be increased to 10% because we are able. Those are enabled. Let's enable them so that they can also be able to have equal opportunities. Let's define the term equality to truly means enabling someone who does not have any other means to be able to survive and be equal like any other person who's got two legs. Madam Speaker, the thematic area, number one, on which the committee embarked on, which is the demographic composition of all employees of the county government in terms of gender, persons with disability, age, and ethnicity, is the only thing which I think we need to move further on to see that we have more women. In fact, we should have 50-50. In any county government, we should have 50% women working there, 50% men working there. That is the only thematic area that I think the recommendation by this committee are worth being discussed, Madam Speaker. But when it comes to the issue of tribal lines, that you cannot now employ a Luo child to work in Kisumu because you've hit 70%, that is ridiculous. That is retrogressive. The second thematic area, the democratic composition of county executive committee members and chief officers in terms of gender, persons with disability, age, and ethnicity. I only support up to that section of age, not ethnicity. Because I will give you a good example. If you go to Narok County, we have 30 wards. In those 30 wards, by default, Madam Speaker, we have around 26 wards or 27 wards that in most cases, maybe one ethnic community will be able to dominate, and someone is elected there as a member of the county assembly. Now, when it comes to appointing someone as a CC, if you do not, you should first of all consider those two communities. In Narok, it is mostly the Maasais and the Kalenjins. And then when you come to the cosmopolitan area treated differently. Narok Town treated differently. Narok Town, we have every ethnic group. We have the Kambas, Kikuyus, Luyas, Luos, Maasais, everyone. Now, those ones, give them an opportunity so that they can also be able to represent their interests. Now, if you tell me that you're going to appoint a CC who is going to deal with agriculture, and that CC who is dealing with agriculture lives in Narok Town, what form of agriculture does that person know? Just because you want to fit this recommendation which are set by the national cohesion. Madam Speaker, today my views are completely unorthodox because other communities, like the Maasais, we've been discriminated upon, extreme measures, stigmatized for so long. It is now time for us also to demand our share. If you go to Kajiado County, Madam Speaker, this week we are talking about, in Kajiado County, we are talking about having the Maa Cultural Week. But guess what? Even during that week, those ones who will be given contracts to be able to provide tents, to be able to provide advertisement services are not people from that county. Then how are you supporting that economy? Madam Speaker, support an economy by building the citizens of that economy. Give them, do a current audit, say the person who was given a contract for advertisement are all from Narok, Kajiado, and Samburu, because it is about them. But now you'll find that maybe the big tents will be owned by somebody in Nairobi, a good friend of my sister, Karen Nyamu. And then comes in, get the tender to provide the tents. Today I know your name. So let us not continue lying here about this issue of integration. And we don't. Okay? We don't. Look at Nairobi as an example, Madam Speaker. I'll tell you. Nairobi is mwenye nguvu nipishe. In Nairobi, Madam Speaker, it depends on who has the ability.
What's your point of order, Senator Nyamu?
My point of order is under section, the standing order 41 We are just 2 senators in the House. We don't have quorum. Tit for tat.
Can the Secretariat confirm whether we have quorum? We don't have quorum. Can Sergeant Atam ring the bell for 10 minutes? Honourable Senators, having failed to attain quorum at the expiry of 10 minutes, the Senate stands adjourned pursuant to Standing Order 41-2A until tomorrow, Thursday, 6th November 2025 at 2:30 p.m.
Right now, though, allow me to introduce our guest for this hour. He is a communication strategist, and we want to talk about Kenya beyond Raila. A call to a referendum for a parliamentary system, indeed, is a question that is on some people's minds. I'm talking about none other than Odhiambo Otieno. Odhis, good morning and welcome to Radio Generation.
Good morning, thank you.
Sasa when you're this, when you're Otis.
I am time.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about Kenya beyond Raila. I was looking at some of the headlines this morning, magazeti, and Raila is mentioned in every single one of them. But let me pick out the Star. They're saying he's a silent architect, and the question here they're asking on the Star is, will Raila influence 2027 elections from his grave? So I'm asking you this question. Will he?
Yes, he will. The reason as to why Raila will influence 2027 election from his grave is because in the run-up to 2027, I was looking at three-way candidates. We were having President Ruto, we were having the United Opposition candidate, and we were having Raila Odinga.
Right.
Raila Odinga being the deciding factor in 2027 when he was alive. Now, I was looking at it from the perspective that we will not get an outright win in the first round, and we will have to go for a second round of election, the runoff.
Are you saying in 2027?
That is with Raila alive.
Had he been alive?
Had he been alive.
Okay.
That is what could have happened, because none of these people would gain over 50 plus 1%, as is always. And I saw the situation where Raila in his character would either choose to support the United Opposition, which was most probable, or would choose to
support the incumbent,
which was very unlikely for me. And with his exit, we are left in a place where it is very interesting, because Raila has been the stabilizing factor throughout for the last 20-30 years. But now things change, and that means without him as the stabilizing factor, we have to rethink the equation. And then that means that the United Opposition may not stand in 2027, because Raila is who was making them united. They are not united around an issue per se. You cannot even identify the issue they're united around. And so we are most likely going to see a split in the United Opposition. Because somebody wants to be a Raila in the United Opposition.
Yes.
And that, of course, is going to make Raila influence that election very heavily. His absence is going to be felt in terms of, if you look at the Luo community where I come from, there's going to be a lot of voter apathy, because my community majorly votes when the community goal is sustained, and when the siege mentality is ripe.
I will come back to the apathy part, but let's circle back to that thing that you said, that Raila would have run for. Do you think he would have run for president?
Yes, as a strategy for President Ruto to win.
Okay.
Because if Raila would have supported President Ruto outrightly,
Yes.
then there would be no reason for people to come out and vote. But as a strategy would have vied, then at the runoff, he would then dump his, because he would come at number 3. That is definite. All polls were showing already that Raila would come at number 3 if the united opposition gave us a united candidate.
Yeah. And you don't think that would have changed in 2 years' time?
So you're concluding and determining that the polls are what would have indicated.
No.
How often are our polls actually spot on when it comes to predicting things like electoral results?
Our polls are very spot on. It's just that our culture of election is not compliant with the kind of science that the polling does. Yeah, yourself and myself are researchers. We know what we put in when we go to poll. You don't just poll and leave. There are formulas that you follow that can predict. Even if you use a polyhedron formula to arrive at a precision point, you will find that it is indicating something. But then when you go to the actual elections, there is a cookery that happens, and then the polls are discredited. But you cannot discredit science, because science gives you the same result.
Actually, you can. You can, because when you talk about polling, even when you talk about research, whether it's biomedical or whatever, even if there's a fundamental, just a basic survey, a lot of what you refer to as the results are very much determined by not just the questions, but how they are framed and how they are asked.
Yes, that is true.
So if you ask questions in a certain way, you can more or less guarantee the sort of answers you will receive.
Yes.
If you ask questions in another way, again. So when it comes to our elections and knowing how it is we go about our business, research has the capacity to take that into account.
But you see what I think he's talking about? He's talking about, number one, objective research, where your objectives are very clear. And if you're looking to get the truth, of course you will have to formulate your questions in a way that doesn't include bias or doesn't bring out the bias.
You cannot
rule out 100%.
It is not possible.
You cannot exclude bias 100%, but you can ensure, because again,
ensure what exactly?
You can ensure that you get accurate results as to what an eater ground. Ground in a cell.
Let me help you here. When you talk about polling, you can look for the truth or you can look for the facts.
Okay.
These two are different. For example, if a candidate finances my company to go around and do polling, then most probably I'm going to tell him the truth and not the fact, because I would want him to understand with hope.
But truth and facts should actually mean the same
thing. No,
they don't.
It doesn't mean the same thing.
No, they don't.
Because
truth is very. The
truth is this is a phone, but the fact is this is a phone.
No,
it is a fact.
No,
it is a truth.
No, it's not. A fact is not truth.
No, it is not.
So
what is it?
So a truth is a reality according to you. It is your perception of what is.
It is what you're willing to accept.
Yeah, what you're willing to accept as your reality.
So I've just done a quick search.
Please, yes.
Google search on fact.
Yes.
Say a thing that is known or proved to be true. So fact, truth.
It's very different again. If you go into linguistics, you'll find that when you study truth and fact, it goes into miniatures, which will define for you that truths are very subjective, whereas facts are very objective.
Odinga, let me give a different example. Like the law and justice.
Yes.
The law is something that is definitive, it is written.
Yes.
Justice is aspirational.
Yeah.
And the law is a tool that it is hoped would bring justice. It doesn't always bring justice.
Justice is true.
Because it depends on who is handling it and how they're presenting it.
And also justice to me could mean something very different.
Like what, for instance?
It depends on the atrocities or the crime that has been committed against me. So the law might say, assuming it's Odhiambo who's wronged me, has been jailed 15 years for that crime. But I'm thinking justice is hang him and decapitate him, perhaps. So,
but now
even in that context alone, if you go to court, we don't have courts of justice. We have courts of law.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they follow the law.
The law.
Yes.
Now, if the law is followed to to its later, then that is justice. Okay, but again, to you, justice could be somebody murders somebody, and it's clear they murdered somebody, but they can't find the tool that was used, the weapon that was used in murdering. You know, because of reasonable doubt, that case is dismissed, and this person that is
also,
justice.
Paul, remember the fact that people appeal tells you whatever the court determines as justice, there are those who will disagree.
Exactly.
So they appeal.
Exactly.
Because they're seeking justice now.
Yes. So we have agreed justice is aspirational.
It is.
But now getting back to the poll, getting back to the poll of before we digress and get into other things.
Right.
According to what you're saying is that had Raila run for president
in 2027,
he would come number 3, someone else would be number 2.
United Opposition candidate will be number 2, and then President Ruto will be number 1.
Okay.
How did you arrive at this? I'm interested.
I arrived at it because I did a study.
Okay, and say, okay, what question are you seeking?
And just a minute. And when I was doing this study, of course, we were having a voter switch behavior monitoring that was going to be sustained up to 2027. Because we wanted to see how are the voters behaving in between, because it was not definite. That was at that time. So as at now, we are running another study which will indicate differently. But at that time, President Ruto will come in at number 1, because when we analyze, and that is from our outputs, we're looking at the Gen Zs and that whole team that is having the narrative of change not being organized. So lack of organization and lack of a plan was giving President Ruto an edge over them. Because unlike us, the young,